Tonight, Bermuda Dr. Lou on all fronts. Such a beautiful day today. My people. I'm just gonna. We have in studio. This is our fourth segment on the trades, and we are true to the timeline that we said, and we talked about doing and having a conversation, a post conversation with the team, but unfortunately the fear didn't come off. Be that what it is, the show goes on, and so we're still talking about the trades, but we're going to be very action oriented because that trade fair, for those of you who may be curious about this here, the trade fair will take place. We're rescheduling it for October. It's a very important, necessary opportunity and experience. And credit to the government. Many of you may have participated in the career fair that the government had. And then even with that, you may have seen the opportunity of even trades within on the government platform. So we're going to place a lot of emphasis on where and what to next. And where and what to next implies one of the things that I'm going to be advocating collaboratively in studio with me tonight, Lou Trott. And if you know anything about Lou Trott, Technical Institute. Lou Trott was also former educator, design and technology. Also played instrumental role, because I'm going to share, I think it was around 2004, 2005, 6, Lou, when you were the design and technology officer. And the applied technologies curriculum was was looked at, and it was around that period when I think after you left, because I came 2008 and you weren't there 2008. I think you left 2006 or 7.
2006.
2006 you left, and therefore we begin to see a decline, even the attention to the applied technology as electives, which was the intent. So we're going to have some conversation about that. Supporting us in this conversation will be also physics teacher, Cedar Bridge, Summer STEAM Academy Director, I call him, Neville Zool, right? We have Brother Neville Zool in studio. Let me just plug you in now, and you let me know if I need you to say something now. Let me see if it comes across clearly.
Evening, Doc. How you making out?
Okay. I'm making out well. It's not coming through the boards like I would like it. Say it again for me, Neville. I don't know why it always happens to me.
How you making out?
Okay.
Check one.
Here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to improvise always. We'll do that. And magnify.
Does that work?
Better
now?
It should be. Say something now again, Neville.
Does it work now? Is it clear? 1, 2, 3.
Okay. Say something now. All right, that's better. There you go.
Better? Cool.
Yeah.
All right.
And I'll keep fiddling with this here. I don't know why it does this to me all the time, but sometimes it comes through, sometimes it doesn't. But so where I'd like to go, just to open some things up. I want to set the tone with something. And Neville, I think I sent you the clip. Of course, FIFA's on right now, right? I don't know what Brazil's doing. The last time I saw it was 1-0. I think Haiti may have scored. So it's World Cup time. And Bermuda's playing its part in World Cup, people, and we are on the field. Bermuda's on the field. And this is something that goes with the subject matter that we're talking about tonight. Matter of fact, I even see a CARICOM opportunity. That's another discussion. But where is Bermuda on the field in the World Cup? Literally, Bermuda grass. Bermuda grass is playing an instrumental role in this World Cup. And when I listen to that, and I want to get and somewhat plant some seeds, per se, in that grass, because it links to our conversation. So what I want to do, I'm going to play this clip that discusses Bermuda in the World Cup, Bermuda grass.
Undertaking with 104 matches in 16 stadiums across 3 countries.
It's the biggest football tournament on the planet that has ever happened.
And one of the biggest challenges is creating consistent surfaces for the tournament to be played on.
FIFA requires a natural grass pitch. That's the first and foremost. It has to be natural grass.
But in many stadiums, installing natural grass has never been possible. All of the US venues are NFL stadiums, which use smaller fields. And grass is fussy. It needs oxygen, water, and massive amounts of light.
We're talking 6-7 years for this pitch project just to happen, and now it's reality. We can look at this one where there's different fertilizer. 3 o'clock in the afternoon, this is the equivalent of the sun coming up. We're trying to find the balance of what's enough light to get the grass to grow, and when we traffic it, that it's going to hold up, because it's a living organism. You abuse it, it's going to die. And that's kind of what we've worked on for the last 3 years inside of this building. I've been doing sports turf research since fall of 1992, when I started working as a student at Michigan State University in preparation for the '94 World Cup. And I've been doing sports turf research pretty aggressively since then. If you talk to any player related in the World Cup, I'm pretty confident they would all say they would way rather play on natural grass. Especially ones that score a lot of goals and they want to run and do that knee slide to the flag. You don't want to be sliding on artificial turf and burning all the skin off your knees. This is the Bermuda grass. It's being used for the warm season stadiums. So Guadalajara, Monterey, Kansas City, San Francisco, Miami, and New York, New Jersey. What's unique about Bermuda grass is it grows by above ground runners that we call stolons. It also grows by rhizomes, which are below ground runners, and you can see them going below in the sand below here. And so this grass grows above ground and below ground, so when you do wear it out, it can fill in, but those rhizomes also act like anchors to stabilize that sand. In the cool season climates and in the dome stadiums, we're using Kentucky bluegrass and perennial ryegrass. And Kentucky bluegrass grows by rhizomes, but not the stolons. Not as aggressively as the Bermuda grass, but it grows by those. So you get some of that anchoring effect.
Think of the pitch as a layer cake that's built directly on top of the stadium's existing turf. First is either a gravel or modular plastic layer, packed with drainage pipes to prevent flooding. On top of that are several inches of specialized sand, giving the roots room to breathe. And finally, the playing surface that you actually see on TV. A thin 1 3/4 inch shell of living sod.
We want to make sure when that athlete's running and cutting, they're going to have the same feel of foot. We also do research to look at not just the athlete performance, but how does the ball bounce and roll on that surface as well. And so we want surfaces, even though they're different types of grass, to be as homogeneous and consistent and uniform as possible. Really tough to pull them out with a pair of pliers. So this is the Flex device. This is a device we developed at the University of Tennessee and can simulate a foot strike of a foot hitting the surface. If the surface isn't very good, like a natural grass surface, it might tear up or divot. We can test different surfaces, all with the same weight and the same cleat, so we can look at the variability of the surface. This has been really instrumental for us for 26.
And then there's the matter of scaling the experiment across an entire continent.
We've had to bring the grass from Denver, Colorado, because the type of grass that's growing inside the stadium is a cool season grass, and typically we're not able to establish cool season grass in Texas long enough to make a sod that's transportable.
The delivery is a race against time. A stadium's worth of sod has to travel in dozens of refrigerated trucks, with rotating drivers keeping the shipment moving around the clock. The stadiums need to prepare the infrastructure in advance so that the sod can immediately be laid down and the roots can begin to expand. In some stadiums, like Dallas, accommodating all that infrastructure meant raising the entire pitch by more than a foot.
There's many trucks that have come in and out of here over the last 2 months, that's for sure. Grass is a natural product, it's living, and we have to work with it, not against it. We're bringing it into an environment where it may not naturally kind of grow, so we need to care for it, treat it, and seeing it succeed. Typically, we're looking around 12 hours that they'll be on, and then they'll be off for 12 hours.
Because of the vast differences in stadium design and local climates, FIFA has to deploy a completely unique recipe for every single venue. In Mexico City, stadium managers had to cultivate a grass variety that the high-altitude venue has never grown in its history. Across almost every American football venue, massive structural renovations had to be done to make a soccer pitch fit in the space. And in Houston, engineers had to compress the entire process to avoid disrupting the annual livestock show and rodeo.
Currently, we see behind me, we're installing the pitch for the FIFA World Cup and the final. 2 days ago, we were in Philadelphia doing exactly the same process. Today, we've started Vancouver, so it's a huge project. It's unforgiving, to be honest. It's just a really cool challenge to be a part of.
Many of the stadiums will remove the grass after the World Cup ends. But researchers hope to prove that natural grass playing surfaces are possible across sports.
I hope there's a legacy effect of this. We've done the research, we've done the evidence-based science behind what you can have, no matter what the sport is or what the level of sport is. You can have an ideal natural grass surface, whether you're little Mary playing soccer on 35 pounds to Bubba playing American football at 350 pounds. We can have a grass surface for anyone that wants to have it.
Now there you have it. I thought I would include that in there. When we think of this, of our possibilities, and it was a statement made, like the grass, when we think in terms of what we want to do in our schools with our teachers, our students, obviously we have to work together, with our teachers and students, work with them as opposed to against them. And I see the lines lighting up, people. I'm going to bring you in probably more toward, probably about 8:45, maybe at 9. But I want to have a conversation with our guests first. But this demonstrates to me, again, when we talk about applied technology, let's take this as a creative content example. Bermuda grass, this is what we have. Imagine what we could do with this here in Bermuda. You and I over an era when we set the carpet, we played on the carpet. We understood, it was the best thing to play on. Here it is, Bermuda grass, the carpet, is now marketed in the World Cup. That's an applied technology. When you're talking about landscaping, horticulture, gardening, planting, all of that. The vocational applied technical pathways for our young people. I believe, and I want to get it from both of you. We're talking to Neville Zool, physics teacher, director of the STEAM, Summer STEAM Academy at Cedar Bridge. We have Lou Trutt in studio, representative of the Technical Institute, and an advocate for including more of the vocational technical in our schools. And I'm saying we see great work being done at the government level, especially workforce, apprenticeships. And like I said earlier, Balco, Great Apprenticeship Program, and there are a few others. Now's the opportunity to probably push and start it earlier. Certainly we want to work from the primary school level all the way through. So Lou, let me start with you as someone who has great familiarity with this process, not just as a former educated teacher, but someone, like I said, who's still exercising the advocacy for applied technology.
Words are words are words are words. And you can't get away from the fact that technical education is technical education, no matter what you call it. And that's the challenge. Everybody wants to, we talk about STEAM and STEM. Well, that's science, technology, engineering and mathematics.
Yeah.
Right? And then the A is for arts.
That's right.
Well, when I went to school, we all did STEAM. Right? At Tech, we did STEAM. At Robert Crawford, we did STEAM. At Sandra, did STEAM because, the only thing we didn't have at Tech was arts.
Yeah.
Because we didn't do a language and we didn't do performing arts. But our arts were technical arts.
Yeah.
Okay? So it's about a term. First of all, let me start off by saying I also would like to congratulate Balco and Tynes Bay for their consistency.
That's the other one, yeah.
In having apprentices for what Bermuda needs. The problem with Bermuda is we are not developing our people for our needs. And that's where I have a problem with what's going on, because we talk about a formula. If you're coaching, if you're playing cricket, there are formulas for your team.
Yeah.
There are some things, this is how we play. Okay? I'm a supporter of cricket. I'm a Somerset and Bayless Bay. And for soccer, I'm a zebra. Okay? And
for football, sorry.
For football, yeah, man. Football, yeah, I'm sorry.
Hey, man, it's World Cup,
World Cup, yeah. But I'm a zebra. And we had certain tactics that we incorporated, which guys still use. You cannot beat a pack of wild zebras. And when we said run, we ran the game.
Yeah.
So there are things that work for me that won't work for you. So things that work for Bermuda may not work for anywhere else.
Right.
And things that work other places will not necessarily work for Bermuda.
Let me interject right here, Lou, because that's an important statement that you're making in terms of what will work for us that doesn't work somewhere else. And it's us having the confidence in knowing and acting on what works for us.
Yeah.
Right? With this, when we say what works for us, and part of what you said earlier, I'll tell you half the model is working for us, because we are producing students to be in international business.
Yeah.
That's what we're doing. On the flip side is where we see some of the deficit.
Yeah.
Right? More so.
Yeah.
More so. Now, we bring into this here, Neville, with your experience, because Lou mentioned about the STEAM. Yes, it's always been STEAM, STEM education. The difference is the STEM education today with the advanced technologies today.
Well, we had advanced technology
For that era.
Let me explain something. If you want to be an electrician today, if you don't know what an ohm, an amp, or a volt is, you're lost.
Yeah.
That's the foundations. If you don't know what the strokes of a two-stroke or four-stroke of an engine is, you're lost. I don't care how many computers you have, you're lost. The computer's not going to fix it. The individual has to fix it. I graduated from Tech in 1969. So in 68, I was in the automotive program, and a gentleman came over from, I don't know if it was Scotland, he was there, so he came to visit the school. And he asked us, where did you get that machine from? the dynamometer. Okay? A dynamometer which the students of tech built. A dynamometer is an apparatus that measures everything about an engine. The amount of air, the amount of fuel, the amount of torque. The students built it, and it was actually working. He thought we had gotten it from a factory, like only factories have that. But Mr. Henderson, we built it. And I say that to say, today they call them computers that measure that stuff. It's small. But
It's part of the diagnostic and all of that.
It's just confined and compressed,
Yeah.
like our phones.
Yeah.
You understand? So we can't throw out the baby with the bathwater, because if your computer goes down, if your phone goes down, you still got to know how to communicate. You still need to know how to fix whatever it is. And that's where we're losing in Bermuda, because we're so busy talking about these instruments and other things. We're dumbing down our students, because how do you know that that calculation is right? You don't know that that calculation is right if you don't know how to calculate yourself, or if you don't know that formula. There are some formulas that, if you speak to some tech guys, they will rattle off now. I was told that, and I'm like, man, you know? So what I'm saying is, we have to empower our children, our future, to be able to adapt. And technology education, I am tired of hearing people say, oh, because they work with their hands. When I was in Florida, I got the honor of meeting a young man who could move. He was a quadriplegic. The only thing he could move was his eyes, and he was fed. And I got to meet him, and he was writing these fabulous books because his brain was working. If your brain's not working, nothing else is going to work, right? Once you damage your brain, you can have all the flexibility you want.
But he was also using the technology,
exactly,
to adapt to the technology, to advance his thought process.
Exactly. Yeah. But he had the ability to read, to imagine, and to write.
Problematize.
And I think what we're doing is dumbing down our students instead of making them use technology to a benefit. We're giving technology to replace. And that's a serious indictment.
That's partially true, then not true. And I'm gonna bring in Neville in this here. Neville, in terms of when we listen to what Lou just shared with us in terms of this here, because I know what you do, and I know much of the work that you do in terms of engaging students, striking the balance of the technology and using their own thought process, which is one of the key concerns right now that brings into it the critical thinking. And I think that's part of the things that you're addressing too, Lou, in terms of that is one of the major concerns globally right now, that with the technology.
Oh, not in China.
Not so much in China, because they know their education works against that, works with that. Let me put it this way, that you don't become dependent on the machinery to think for you. It's you thinking for the machinery, right, in machine learning. So Neville, bringing into this conversation some of the, how can I describe it, with what you're doing in terms of the STEM, and how it corresponds with the vocational applied technical pathways. Share with us, for example, how do you see where we are with what we're doing being advanced to bring more of a balance of the applied technologies with the advancement of, I guess, the technology we have available to us today?
Well, I think, speaking to what's being discussed, when it comes to finding balance in this, in education period, it has to be intentional. I hear what Mr. Trott is saying, and I see the importance of knowing the foundation and the rudimentary pieces, but we as the educators have to be intentional about our delivery. We have to be intentional about what we create so that we can find that balance between the new or the novel and the other ways of doing stuff. So I know for us, for example, in STEAM Academy, our students use digital tools and analog tools. We use power drills and screwdrivers, but it's just we intentionally do things, the harder way and the technology advanced way so that they can strike that balance. I agree with you, Mr. Trott, that you need to be able to verify that what the computer spit out was correct. You should be able to sense check everything, but that comes with the development and the educational part, but it comes from the teachers. If you have teachers that work with you and try to develop that balance and they understand the importance of both the advancement and the original, then we should come out on top. But it is a tough chord to strike because you want the students exposed to the new because that's what the future holds. But at the same time, foundationally, they need to understand how this thing works to begin with, so that they can be the developers and not the consumer of the tech. So that's another way to look at it. Are we creating those that consume the technology, or are we creating those that develop the next ones?
Yeah.
And that comes from your curriculum, how your curriculum is developed. And so you go through stage 1, stage 2, stage 3, stage 4, and you progress along the way. But if you just dump them into the digital new stuff, it's going to be difficult for them to go back. I have a couple of drills home. My favorite is my DeWalt with the battery. I slap it, pop in out the drills instead of the cord and But that one comes in handy for other things, but I need more torque. You understand? So I understand that. So your curriculum has to be developed in stages where they progress. Remember, if you give somebody all of the niceties in the beginning, what else is there for them to live for? You understand? Some people want to retire before they even start work. No, there's a process. And I'm not against what's being done. It's the process that enhances the mind, the brain. And the greatest thing about technology and technical education is safety.
Yeah.
And what I am hearing, because a lot of employers talk to me, I still have young men that come by and talk to me about their futures. And I just want to, before I go on, one of my old students came by my house the other day. He works for a certain company, and he thanked me because he had done something, and he started laughing because I had told him about it years ago, and when he saw me, he started laughing and he said, thank you. It's about processes and growing, and just now made me think about him because I'm very proud of how he's progressed. The point is that we need to put things in order and set them on the path, because safety is one of the biggest things that you can learn about technical education. And employers are saying to me that our young people are coming out of school not able to read a rule. Right? If you're going to be in industry, you know how to read a rule. Okay, we're not using micrometers much anymore, right? But the point is, you need to know how to use a rule. You need to know how to read a manual. I mean, you need to know how to read to use your phone.
Yeah.
If you're going,
which many of them know how to do, by the way.
Yeah. But a lot of our kids are coming out with deficiencies, according to industry, of what's required. And we need to fix that so that we are developing our people for the betterment of Bermuda. Because
let me just say this here, though, Lou. Let me just say this here. And you're right, we need to. But again, I say to folks, because there is a how-to in terms of assisting our children in doing that. And I've seen some things even with Nabu dolls in the summer STEAM and these are students with diverse skill sets, backgrounds, so forth, doing some of the complicated things that come with technology. If we're talking about we're doing some things around physics. That's his specialty. We're doing some of the mechanical things that comes in STEM. And you mentioned about the curriculum, and I have to share this because we have the curriculum. We have it, and I know often the industry, they talk about what students don't know, don't have, right? And again, it's not uncommon. We look at our own situation and think it's unique. It's not. It's very characteristic of many of our students globally, right, in schools, because they're working with the technology that's thinking for them. Gets back to what you said, being able to think for yourself. Well, the curriculum is supposed to help you to do this. And when you look at the applied technology that 2004, 2006, see, and I'm sharing this because people think we didn't have stuff. We have stuff, we aborted it. Here's one of the applied technology courses then. Production occupations, right? And some of the production occupations that students learned about, we're going to learn in this, plant and systems operation, electrical power generating plant, printing occupations, textiles, woodwork occupations. Students were to be a part of all of that. Transportation and material moving occupations. Architect and surveyors. These are all module courses that students were a part of. Landscape architects, surveyors. In the construction trades and the extractive occupations, stone masons, bulldozer operators, carpenters, right? These are all some of the jobs or careers that come under that students were being exposed to. Computer, mathematical, and operations research occupations. Well, when you listen to that, it goes forward, and I say in terms of the thinking, balancing what's theory and what's practical. Because a computer mathematical operations research occupation is theory, right? And all of that supports these others. Then you have engineers, chemical engineers, civil engineers, electrical, mechanics, installers, and repairers, aircraft mechanics, automotive body repairs. These were all part of the curriculum to expose our young people to it. And I want people to marinate on this here. It's been 30 years. We've had 30 years of reform. That's a generation. And we're sitting here talking about what was discussed 30 years ago.
That's right.
Not that some things were put in, because some of this was put in place, but we aborted. Okay? And we come full circle, we're right back to creating the balance. Again, when we think in terms of, where's it to? And I'll ask you this here, Neville. But I think in terms of those courses that I listed just now that come under applied technologies and some of what we have in school today, I think some of our electives we need to replace and put some applied technologies in place, more applied technology. Not that we don't have any, but to put more applied technologies as electives, to give students the experience that was your experience, my experience, whether I chose a field in the technological trades or not. I was exposed to it, explored it, didn't like it. I went more of the direction of the computer using theory into practice, those things. So Neville, I pose this question to you. Should it be required that every student, from your lens, when you look at what comes through your classrooms and the years experience that you have as an educator, should it be required that every student graduate with one micro certification? A requirement?
Well, on the topic of micro certifications, I think on top of whatever their basic diploma is, that it might even need to be more than one. I think the student should graduate with a toolbox as opposed to a tool.
Got you.
Because we don't know what the future holds. We don't know what industry will look like. The micro credentials are fueled by the industry's need, right? You don't go just collect them like Pokemon badges. You get the ones that you need for what you're trying to do. So I think there's some validity to finishing your signature program, so to speak, but at the same time having a plethora of micro credentials, because the thing that micro credentials do over the curriculum-based high school situation is that they're going to be verifiable by the industry and by a standard that is outside of the school.
Right.
It'll change with the industry. So if you need an updated micro-credential, while our curriculum might not change every year, the micro-credentials might, based on what's moving with the industry. So not only do I think that they should leave with one, I think they should leave with a portfolio of them.
Okay. Lou has a response to something that you shared just now.
I'm sorry, Mr. Zhu. Can you explain to the listening audience what you mean by micro credentials? Because not everybody understands that.
Got you.
Okay, so a micro credential is going to be like a shorter, targeted course that speaks directly to an industry need or an industry skill. They should be verifiable from an external authority. So let's say I want it to be, just off the top of my head, a pastry chef. You can take a shorter pastry chef course that speaks directly to like icing, and you can almost get that badge for icing. And I'm just literally making that up off the top of my head, but you could get the concept. So micro credentials speak directly to a skill or a competency, and it's externally verified. So yes, in school you might take HERMAC, but you can take 4 micro credentials in HERMAC that speak more to what you're actually trying to do. Yes, HERMAC would cover cooking and other things as well, but are you going to be a pastry chef or a baker or a line chef or a sous chef? The micro credentials sort that out. And when you work, let's say you took automotive in high school, we could be talking gas, we could be talking diesel, we could be talking small engines. The micro credentials speak directly to that. And you can stack them. You'll collect them up if you want to, or just get the ones that you need for the industry that's looking for them. Does that answer your question?
It certainly does, because every industry has let me put it this way. If you want to be a nurse, when you come to Bermuda, you have to, or when you graduate, you have to get certified or accredited through the Nursing Council.
And unfortunately, that's one of our most successful
and
courses for students, micro certifications.
Right. And then if you have, if you're a lawyer, you have to be vetted by the Bermuda Bar Association. If you're a dentist, the Dental Association. Who does that for technical education in Bermuda? It should be the National Training Board.
Yeah.
We've dismantled that. You see, the National Training Board sets the national standards for the trades, right? And culinary falls under the trades for me.
Right.
Okay?
Yes,
hospitality. And so they set, this is the standard. And from that falls out all of the necessities, credentials that you require. We don't know who's coming into Bermuda. We don't validate their credentials. But we're not prepared, and I'm sorry if I'm speaking a little aggressively, but we're not...
But you're speaking truthfully.
Yeah, we're not prepared to give our young people... I had a young man come to my house about 2 years ago who I had taught in a program at the college. And he said, Mr. Trutt, you said to us, come to work. If you're 5 minutes early, you're late. That's what I teach them. And he said, man, I was getting work. This particular day, I got work late, first time in my 2 years there. And, they ragged on me, right? Certain other young man comes in late every day, and what they say, hey, hard day, hard weekend. You know what I mean? Like, we have to be prepared in this country because it's a small island, and it has to be equitable across all scopes. We had a training college up there, and this is reading right into what you've been saying, Neville. We had a place designated as a culinary training college, which was given away. Neil Hansford Smith had a curriculum up at Prospect that was doing enough that he satisfied the majority of the needs of all the hotels in Bermuda, when we had almost twice as many hotels as we have now.
Yeah.
And so what I'm saying is that we're looking at education, but what about education with the design that people will be employed, right? People will be given apprenticeships, tutelages. It's important, and they must get certification. TEC was the certifying body, which was taken over by the National Training Board. You went to SANS,
right.
People went to St. George's, people went to Robert Crawford, and they did all of the things that we'd have TEC: woodwork, welding, electrical.
It's the same,
right? But
applied technologies.
But they came to TEC to get certified.
Mm-hmm.
City and Guilds, ULCI, A-levels in metalwork and all of that.
Well, yeah, and at SANS in those schools, they did City and Guilds too, the model of TEC.
Yes,
yeah. But
you got City and Guilds level 1. Mm-hmm. You had to come to TEC to get levels 2, 3, and 4. Mm-hmm. Okay, because that's where it took place. All I'm saying is, we are not serious about what we're doing with our technical people because we haven't put in place the things that guarantees them success. And you have to be accountable. Look, I do not begrudge anybody coming into my country to better themselves, to get a job. I keep hearing Bermudians don't want to work. I hear this all the time. Oh, this guy's got this job because Bermudian don't want to work. He didn't show up. Okay, but there's got to be a reason. There's got to be a reason why that keeps coming up. But what credentials do these people have coming into my country? They should meet the national standard.
I get that. That's
very important.
And I get that. I get that because I'm hearing two different things in the argument.
Yeah.
Because everyone must meet the standards.
Yes.
Everyone. The ethic of work is another story.
That's another story.
That's another story.
That's right.
Right?
That's right.
And so, from when I reflect and look at our young people, because this is where we are, in the earlier conversation, because the balance of this here is, and I always say this because you brought up about the digital, because there has to be a balance, because that's our children's world. Mm-hmm. I just said to you, 30 years. We've gone through a generation, right? Generation, 25, 30 years, a generation of education reform. A generation of young people have gone through our education system, whom industry make the argument that they don't have this when they come in. Industry are saying it. Yeah? And they don't have it because gets to what we were saying in terms of the curricula. I'm asking, again, and I put this argument to the TEC guys when they were here before. Now, and I'll say it again. We're dead men walking. All of us. Our legacy, because we know what the formula is. We have our advocacy. I'll read it again. And I'm sure the conversations, TEC and the rest, the minister in the papers yesterday, along with the commissioner, committed to maintaining an open dialogue with educators and stakeholders. I'm asking the tech stakeholders and all the industry stakeholders with some of the good things that we have done and aborted. Use the example of industry partners who adopted schools. Great opportunity to extend and expand the applied technology in those schools with our needs. Yeah. And I'm putting it there. These are still our opportunities, stakeholders. And I make the argument again, the old tech's not coming back. The old SANS is not coming back. None of what we had is coming back. We're going forward with some of what is on the table right now with applied technology, integrating it into with the digital age that our children are in. And I'll bring up, because here's where we are, what we're not doing, because they talk about it. We know that plumbers are needed, electricians are needed,
always,
and AI cannot replace them, right? AI, and all of our children and all of our people are not going to be plumbers and electricians, but we know the value of those careers. Matter of fact, the prediction is the value of a plumber or an electrician will equate with what an actuary is today. Because what an actuary is today, and by the way, an actuary today will decline in the next 5 years.
Oh, yeah.
Because of the technology.
Yeah. Well, we bought a gentleman in from England, Lube, as you remember, and he said AI is going to replace lawyers, it's going to replace actuaries, it's going to replace...
Teachers.
Yeah.
Some teachers.
Yeah. So the point I'm making is technical education has always been there. We've always been told of our value of being a plumber, being an electrician,
yes,
whatever.
Yes, but I'm...
Listen.
No, but I'm saying...
No, but you want that equation?
I don't want to keep learning about what's always been there.
Look.
What are we going to act on right now?
You want a car that runs, or you want a car that continuously breaks down? Because a car that runs efficiently, and if we really want to look at it, scrap all the cars and get an electric car.
Which is an advocacy of the government in the next. We're not going to make it to 2030, but by 2050, that's supposed to be
2035.
2035. 2035. But not going to happen. But not for Bermuda. It's not going to happen.
Well, what I'm trying to say is the need for this has always been. We were told that when we went to tech, we were told that what down the road. My point is, the formula that works, that made tech what it is. Okay, I went to an old boys school. That's part of our problem as well.
Well, I want to bring Neville in on that. I want to bring Neville in on that because he did. He's on the front line.
Yeah.
So Neville, when you hear that particular, and I heard that with the last group also, right? Is it?
You want to fix our mess?
Do we require an old boys school, or at certain points of a school day, old boy classes with certain subjects?
I don't think that's a necessary step. I think we might have moved away from how things actually work. I can think of some of our most successful cohorts were mixed. You definitely, I feel like it's 8:57 now. It's quite possible one of our former students is still over there in the workshop working on her car right now. I don't think boy-girl has anything to do with it. I think what we need to do is be honest about what's necessary to be successful in that field. We need to be honest about what foundation is necessary in order for them to have success. And I think we need to hold the standard or raise the standard. And like we spoke about earlier, Doc, we have to have a pathway, an honest pathway that goes from primary, and I don't mean that a student at primary picks that they want to be a mechanic, and then they just do all these hyper-focused classes until they're 20.
I agree with that.
It to fall down, build it small at the bottom, big at the top, right? So if you want mechanics at 18, they need to be exposed to mechanic type things at 8. It doesn't mean that they decide to be a mechanic at 8. One of the issues that we have run into that we're trying to solve, or at least pilot with STEAM Academy, is we're asking students to pick signatures, and their genuine knowledge of what careers are available isn't as thorough as we think it is.
I agree with that.
What you're doing, you're picking your whole school based on a career that you think you want to do, and you only know 6 careers.
I agree.
I don't think you need to segregate. I think that the segregation will happen organically. I teach a physics class of all boys. I didn't pick all boys. It just happened that way.
Right.
And that is, you don't need to force it. It'll happen on its own if it's meant to happen. But what we need to do is ensure that they understand what the pathway is to get to they want to go, and B, if they do what they have to do according to the curriculum and the pathway that we orchestrate, that they actually find success. Or is it that at the end of this, I heard the phrase, we're going to jump and build the plane on the way down. That isn't necessarily the best strategy for success. So let's make sure that the pathway that we have developed, or at least that what we've sold to stakeholders, is one that leads to the space. You're absolutely right. There's going to be a shortage of plumbers worldwide. But there's definitely going to be one here, because the stalwarts that are retiring and leaving, for every 4 that leave, half jumps into the profession. That's a recipe for a vacuum. But no, I don't think you need to segregate it by male and female. What you will find is the people that want to be in those spaces will go to those spaces.
Right.
And the most important piece that I think we may have forgotten about is the guidance / career guidance type person that talks to these students at 14, talks to these students at 13, talks to them at 18. In university, you still have guidance counselors who say, hey, the courses you're taking don't make any sense for the career that you want. How often does a 14-year-old go to their guidance counselor and discuss end goal and current process and route to see if they still line up? We can change our minds. I'm an adult, and I change my mind 30 times a day. So how come we aren't double checking and checking the pulse of the students when they're in these spaces as well?
And I think you're raising something. That's why I feel with some of the successes that we are having at the apprenticeship level, and many of those are 18 and up, I believe we need more of a pre-apprentice that captures some of the things that you just spoke to. And there are, I know in the UK they do it. Like I said, China's way ahead. Asians are way ahead with it. And they're starting with the pre-apprenticeships that expose our young people to these careers that they never heard of. But we have the responsibility, the adults for them have the responsibility to expose them to the possibility of these careers.
Okay.
Or what careers can come out of an interest.
And let me clean up something here. I was not implying that technical education is for boys only. Okay? That's not what I'm implying. We have a problem with males in this country. If we didn't, we would have more males employed. We would have more male teachers in the system, which we need.
Oh, I'm not against an old male classroom or old male school.
Right. What I'm saying is that young men learn differently.
Yeah.
I am a product of that.
Yeah.
Okay? When I went to tech, I think about 5 guys that inspired me, because I looked up and I saw these 5 guys at different times. I'll call their names. Gordon Chumley.
Yeah.
Carlton Bass. Shaq Richard Todd.
No more. Go ahead.
Yeah. Cromwell Shakir.
Old model man.
Okay. Al Wharton. Okay. And Cecil Pulley. Those guys, right, had something about them that attracted me to them that made me right? I can tell you now, Cromwell Shakur was the best dressed. You know what I mean? So he was always.
And I'm with you on that.
So if we have our young men, and you know, that's why we have junior clubs. You look up to the senior guys, they say, "Hey, get out of here."
Look,
So that's part of our problem.
I agree. You don't have to justify, because I agree.
I just want to clarify.
And I see where Neville's coming from also.
Yeah.
I do believe where it is necessary of an all-boys school or all-boys classroom.
I agree.
And I also agree, because I witness it all the time, organically it will happen. As organically, you'll see many young girls.
Yes.
Matter of fact, is even at the college level, who you find more of the women in engineer classes and degrees than you do males right now.
Let me say this.
And a contributing factor to that is because less and less males, especially whether you're in Europe or America or Canada, less and less males are going to four-year institutions.
Yes.
They're not interested in the degrees anymore.
Because they don't serve them properly.
Yeah. And just as we're having this conversation, they're recognizing that and making the necessary adaptations. Right? Bringing in more of the technological aspects. They've eradicated certain degrees, and I'll say that's another conversation for parents who are sending your children to university. They're doing degrees like liberal arts. I'm sorry, you're in trouble. If you're not in the health professions, those are degrees that are in demand. You're finding less going into the field of education, right? So teachers, although you'll still find more women who go into that field, right? But universities are slowly eradicating some of those degrees from their programs. And how can I say the word is bespoke? They customize it.
Well, let me say this. We're talking about models, and it's very important that we understand this. I believe that the model that we have had in reference to technical education works. And I can tell you why. Because you had day release, right?
All a part of the applied.
And then you had apprenticeships.
Right.
So I used to be, before I retired, a member of the ACTE, Association for Career and Technical Education, and I used to go to the conference. Other Bermudians here that are members as well. And Obama had put $350 million up to train tradespeople. The young man who was in charge of that did not know how to go about it, so he came to the ACTE and came into this particular forum that was going on. And some people made him feel a little bad because they talked about you Americans have money, but you don't have concepts that, put in place. And people were talking about programs because what they were trying to establish was a worldwide certification. And if you got this certification, no matter where you got it in the world, you were able, similar to City and Guilds, but they were, and the chairman of the chairman of that particular facet was from Germany.
Right.
And so they were asking people. So I put my hand up and I said, let me explain to you the Bermuda model that we had. And I explained the model of going from elementary school to high school to doing day release, getting an apprenticeship, and getting certification.
Yeah.
And you know what they all said? That's the model that we want. That's the model we need to follow. That was in 2014, because I haven't been to a conference of that since. Okay, so they aligned me with the guy from the Caribbean, and we were going to do some stuff. But my point is, they said, that's the model we're looking for. And you know what they asked me? Why did you get rid of it? And I said, because We followed the Americans, and everybody laughed. But it's true. We had a model that the world thought was acceptable, and we threw it out.
Well, it gets back to what you said earlier, Lou, in terms of us trusting what's best for us.
And that's what this is
and
all
I think
about.
this is where we are right now.
Right. This is not about tech. This is not about Barclay. This is about Bermuda.
This is us trusting what's best for us, at the same time using the best of us, especially across schools, to assist in our students and our children's learning and development early going forward. Caller, I appreciate your patience. Neville, you may have to, I'm not sure if you're going to pick this up in terms of the caller.
I'll jump on, yeah.
Yeah, you may have to, if you turn your radio on, you'll hear it, though. Yeah. Caller, go ahead. Ask your question. Appreciate you.
Good evening, Dr. Lou. Good evening to your guest.
Good evening.
I recall over 30 years ago that you had a lot of people, immigrants from Africa and other countries, going into Germany. And the German government, rather than having these people, all these thousands, hundreds of thousands of people just come into the country and letting social issues occur, they put multi-millions of dollars aside and began training these people in the trades, all types of trades, helping them get bachelor's, master's degrees, whatever.
Yeah.
Training them.
Yeah.
And it's been very successful. These people in Germany.
Up until a point, up until recently, because they're chasing them out of the country now.
When I saw that, I wondered why we hadn't been doing the same thing. This was well over 30 years ago, and here we are still talking about we should be doing this and we should be doing that. We ain't doing nothing in here to propagate and do what Germany has been doing for well over 30 years. All we do is keep talking about.
But Germany's not doing it right now. You're talking about back then, but that's not the case for them right now, because Germany's struggling with their own youth population. It's the Chinese who are doing it, the Japanese who are doing it, but definitely the Chinese. That's the example. Thanks a lot, caller. Good night, caller. You're on All Fronts.
Good evening, gentlemen. Good evening, distinguished gentlemen. I couldn't wait to. It's so ironic that you brought this subject up there, because that was part of my focal point today. And as Brother Lou tried to allude to earlier, I remember when Holiday Inn was open. I can never forget. And that's when busboys were making a whole lot of money. And I said, I'm going to be a busboy. You know what my mother said?
Must have been the 80s and the 70s and 80s, man.
70s, mid-70s.
Yeah, 70s and 80s. Yeah.
And she said, learn a trade. I'll never forget that.
Yeah.
He says, because the hotels are going to close down during the summer, in the winter.
Yeah.
And I listened, and I'm going to tell you, where I am today, it's a complete, that was the springboard for me to go where I had to go.
Let me ask you this question. With that example that you give.
Right.
I have my brother Neville Zoo, who's a teacher on the other side, as an educated teacher, and many others who are listening.
Yeah.
Is it your advocacy that we should require, and that's the word, require,
sure,
that our young people coming out of school today for the next 20 years, they must, and we talked about micro credentials, that they have at least one or two micro credentials aligned with the trades?
I'm a strong advocate for that. As a matter of fact, before even leaving high school, this should be part of your school curriculum. I remember there you
go. That's the pre-apprenticeship level.
That's the tech model.
That's the pre-apprenticeship level.
And when I started, my first job was out of the airport, and I did my city and guilds and stuff at AC, and I couldn't get a job, but I wanted to work at the airport. And the only job they had open was the janitor, and I took it because my foot was in the door. And from there, I used to be sent for a few hours down Bermuda Machine and Castle, old man Pat Washington, Niall Richardson, Tony Pinkton, Malcolm Eve, Then I went to Jim Parker, who was the Lloyds of London surveyor passing all boiler vessels. I had a broad spectrum, and one of the things that I see today is I'm a man that believes in unions, but you only have your certain disciplines. I came up, I touched everything. So that way you can have your feel for what you want to do. You did the air conditioning, the sewage, the conveyors, the ice machine, you did all of that type of stuff.
Right.
The welding, all of that type of thing came under that one remit.
Well, I'm glad you brought up, and this is an example for all of us here. Again, and I got a call 2 days ago.
Right.
2 days ago, I got a call. Welding. Another trade and skill in high demand globally.
Oh, yeah.
There's a shortage of welders
In the world.
Yes.
And that's another example of something that we had proposed but not acted upon. Now, I can bring up the person's name because I plan to have him on in the near future. Because Hobart College.
Just about to say
Hobart College was the model that we had for training of welders. Now, I use that as an example, Lou, that goes with what you said earlier. Neville said the same thing, and I associate it with the model that is upheld as the blue ribbon coming out of international business. We do prepare our young people, public or private, to go into international business. Hold on. I don't frown that, Lou. There's nothing to frown. But I'm saying that's our inconsistency is that we don't create the balance. You see, which is historically has been the problem with us in Bermuda. Now we're looking for balance. And in this balance, again, I'm bringing in all the statements, some of the statements made. One, there's only so few of the Navals in our school. There aren't many men.
Because the system castrates the men while they're in the system. Let's be honest. Let's be honest.
Well, hold on. I want to say this. You're absolutely correct, and that's another show, and it's another show to address, right? And I want to have almost a round table of the men and women of education in the room having that conversation, right? Because it's a very sensitive subject for men and women, but many of our women, because they have to bear the brunt of it all, they predominate. But I don't want to get too deep into this conversation. Lou created the agitation and the instigation, but that education will come a little later because that's going to be a subject matter.
Okay, now one of the things I was saying, I remember when I had a job fair the other day. Remember, for a couple of years, and they were asking everybody to come sign up and to what type of job that you needed or looking for. And I said, why does government need that information? But all they have to do is look in the Department of Immigration and see who's got all the jobs. And you see what type of jobs there are. And you see what the niches are. So you sort of capitalize on that and say, we are shortage here, and there. Push these trades.
Yeah.
You know what? We don't have to set up there. I meet somebody face to face.
It's like we said. It's not rocket science. It's our intentionality.
Right.
Much of what we're talking about has not happened because we haven't been intentional about it. Right. That's why it appears to be we keep talking about certain things. There are pockets of it that's going on. We know. Like I said, I give credit to Belco. I give credit to Tynes Bay. I give credit to even what workforce development are doing because they are developing apprenticeship programs and trainings. Workforce have a 9-week training program of certain trades. These are things that can be reproduced. I'm saying, Lou, this is us.
But don't wait until the 16 and 17. Get them in the 13.
There you go. And I said we have to start it. let's begin there. It's the pre-apprentice model. As we, at the primary school level, we do a lot of the exploratory, you can do it and let those...
How old were you when you went to Sam's?
Who, me?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, I was, 12?
Okay.
Yeah.
The youngest guy that was in my class
12,
at Tech was 10,
Mm.
and the oldest was 12 when we entered.
Yeah.
Okay?
Yeah.
And so we started, you were just out of primary school, so you started learning about all of the foundations, the welding, the carpentry, the metalwork, all of that stuff, right? In your first year.
Yeah.
Okay. I just want to say that because people keep saying, there's nothing wrong with our elementary schools. We just messed up the system by putting in middle schools. Look, young men learn differently than young women.
That's true.
And so
the research and science proves that.
So I go back. When I went to Tech, those 6 guys that I pointed out, for some reason, I had an interaction with them, and to this day, except for Gordon and Shaq, who have passed on. But my point is that we have to decide what type of country we want. And before we go any further, I just want to say this. I want to say hello to Sage and Hendrix, my 2 grandsons in Charlotte who are listening. I just want to say that. Hey, guys, how you doing? Papa loves you.
Well, hey, you better pay homage.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Can I kick back in?
Please,
Yes,
go ahead.
please.
Finish your statement.
No, what has happened is we shouldn't have to have an 18-year-old decide now what he wants to do. He should be knowing that years ago because he's had those formative years coming up at 13. But yeah, I just came back from Barbados and I made sure I went to the Samuel Jackson Prescott Institute of Technology.
Mm-hmm.
That sprawling campus, 90% is maintained by the students.
That's what we did at Tech.
Yep, it's maintained by students. They're all, I see the guy out there stripping condensers, cleaning condensers, evaporators. Another guy doing changing switches and things like that. And these were students.
But I'm saying, what you're articulating, and I get it, fellas, I get it. Look, again, I'm going to say to you guys again, we can talk this to we know this. Hey, we're a dying breed.
But we have to implement this. Look,
hold on. That's what we have to do.
You and I were there when they said that they were going to allow a business to go to Cedar Bridge. And I said, that should never happen.
Yeah.
And it has happened.
Yeah.
And Cedar Bridge looks like a disaster war zone.
Yeah.
It's not an example of what true technology education should look like.
It's not.
It's horrible.
It's
a dumping ground.
You're talking about the garage that's up there, and there's a business establishment operating out of it. Students, to me, and Neville, I guess you can attest to this too. I mean, I know students are also of and part of the mechanic program, but not so much connected to a bona fide business that may be paying rent, but to me is not adding value-added educational purposes to students.
Luke, the business section has been detached from the school.
Yeah.
So it's not even a part of that. But Brother Luke Trot, when I see you again, I'm going to share something with you.
Yeah.
Right?
I appreciate you, my brother.
Yeah.
Quite detailed. Trust me. And this here, I was looking at some years ago. I spoke to someone I'm not going to name to put on the bus. But many years ago, the old observatory cottage, it was sort of promised to me where we would have started off with a school of about 12, and then you just increase.
I'm conceptualizing something that you put into Brother Lou, but I'm going to say to you also, we have schools that are closing. Yes. We have schools that are virtually empty. And I'm saying, see, this is I elevate to another level on this here.
Oh no, this was like 1999.
Yeah, I get that, but that space still exists, and you're bringing up something where we have too many of us branching out. Everyone right now wants to do their thing when it's our thing. Number one, you're not gonna get you men. You see, Neville's a new breed. There aren't many of him. There aren't many of him in our schools. All the men that you're saying that our boys and girls need to engage around industry and trade are on the outside.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
Okay? And I'm saying in the curricula that we talked about, it has to be a curricula that integrates the men and women. Some are women in trades too are on the outside.
Oh, yeah, oh, yeah.
I had women, I had girls in my class.
I don't say this. Listen to me. I don't say these things apologetically, nor to appease people. It's a fact. I'm dealing with facts. And I'm saying you're not going to get men teachers what you and I grew up with. That breed is dead.
They're gone.
They're gone.
So what you're saying, we're giving up on our young men?
No,
because they need.
You're missing the point.
No, I'm not.
Listen,
we need men in the schools.
And here's how you do it. And this is what I'm saying. I'm saying, us men, you men, you're in the schools. I could use a tech man, Kevin. He's in the, Paget. Yeah, I'll use him as an example.
That's a BTIA.
Call it what you want. I don't care.
Program. Just letting you know.
When I'm talking about the industry men, you see, create the balance. And I'll say this to Neville. Neville, what is the feasibility of industry partners coming into a school? I'm going to use you as an example. Working with you, bringing their skill set integrated into the aerodynamics of the project that you're dealing with.
See that's selective. It should be national. National.
You're not listening. No, you're not listening. I am. It's not selective. I'm saying to you,
you're giving business the option. You make it mandatory that listen.
We're talking the same thing
through the National Training Board. The National Training Board should be an independent body of government.
There you go.
Through industry that sets the standards, and they make sure those standards are fulfilled. He wouldn't have a problem with getting their support in his school because they know that these kids need to meet the national standards.
I'm going to say something.
That's all I'm saying.
Carla, you want a final point?
Okay, yeah. What we need to do, us like-minded men need to form ourselves our own little coalition.
It's called Bermuda Technical Institute Association.
Dying men.
Even if how about if you were an alumni?
There you go. That's a good question.
No, because I can answer that. We're having a drive on Friday between 11 and 4, and we are going to sign up people. Because you sign up, that doesn't mean you automatically become a member. We're going to scrutinize who we're dealing with. We want people that are serious about what we're going to do and what we're putting forward with the curriculums that we're supporting and all of that. So you'll be hearing some more about that later on. But yes, you can become a member of Bermuda Technical Institute alumni, especially you, because I know who you are. Okay? Talk to you later, my brother.
Thanks a lot, my brother. Neville, when you listen to that as someone who's in a school now, because I have and we all have our theory, but it's not theory to me, I look at the pragmatic aspect of this, and what has failed us is some of the things that I hear. Until we collaborate on using the strengths of us in our schools, right? I see this, and it's not selective, Lou.
We keep seeing like we're trying to reinvent a wheel that already exists, and that's my problem. Look.
I'm adding traction.
The Toyota Corolla.
We're adding traction to the wheel.
The Toyota Corolla.
We're gonna give all the theories.
Yeah.
You can give the Toyota.
The Toyota Corolla. The Toyota car came in. It gives you all these features.
We know it canceled off the Ford. All of that there.
And so now all they do is improve upon it, but it's still a Toyota Corolla. So the concept was good, and they've improved upon it. All I'm saying is we're throwing out the concept to bring in something, and you know what it reminds? You know what this reminds me of?
We're introducing the concept. I disagree with what you're saying.
Let me just finish this.
We're not throwing out anything.
But let me finish this. You know what this reminds me of? You know what this conversation reminds me of about what we're doing in Bermuda? The same thing that happened between Obama and Trump. He tore up the up the and
bad example.
Yeah, you better believe
it's a bad example.
And now we're trying to put back something better.
It's a bad example.
This education system didn't need to be pulled apart the way it's pulled apart.
You're speaking to what we agreeing on that from the start.
So if we're agreeing on it, then let's move forward and stop talking about this stuff that this don't work, that don't work. But we have a Bermuda model that works.
And I said to you earlier,
the National Training Board, who's responsible for that?
You're saying for the National Training Board. I get all of that. The purpose of the National Training
Board. Who's
not
getting it?
Well, I'm saying we don't have the National Training Board.
Why?
You said we don't have.
Why?
And I'm saying this here with the technical, because you're looking at the National Training Board as a standard, setting the standards for applied technology across the as a nation. I hate to use that word nation because we're not, but across the island. We get that.
Validate the credentials that we're talking about.
We get that. We're saying National Training Board is to validate. Or you're talking about reestablish the National Training Board for that purpose with the representative members on that board who also bring those standards. Carl, I appreciate your patience. Go ahead.
Hey, man, look, I'm trying to understand something here, right? I think it was mentioned that the schools, rather than give the students the choice to just be academic, it would allow them all to learn the trade like we used to. So and the students then, who at some point aren't very good at it, and want to be more academic, can focus on that area. What used to happen when I was at St. George's Tech Board, when you were up to your third year, it was mandatory that you took classes that involved the trades.
Yeah.
And at some point, they added A, B, C, and D class. And the A class catered to those who wanted to be more academic, i.e. focus on further education, university, or be doctors and lawyers, and etc. accountants. In other words, they didn't want to focus on the trade. But up to that point, they had to do the trade. And the beauty of that was, even today, I meet guys that set out to be a doctor or a lawyer that realized at some point in their life that really wasn't in the cards for them, but the first-class mechanics, because they still were introduced to the trade. In my opinion, it should be mandatory rather than this choice thing we abide by today. We assume that a kid, because he has no interest in it, he should not learn a trade.
Let me ask you this here, Mike.
Today seems to be different.
What? Let me some context. Again, that was a selective model that we had. We were exposed to it was exploratory, probably is the better word, because we all were exposed to and explored the different trades, including, of course, the constant was the academic, and with that was if you had the academic, and those students probably like myself, well, I was in the trades, by the way. I was hotel technology pulled out to do more of the academic. Of course, and I use that example. That the example that you give is that's one of the models, and there are jurisdictions that use that model today. And Lou spoke to that the model that we had is being used and applied today. You mentioned about it should be mandatory or required. Yeah. And that's what I was implying. With the micro certifications, I do believe with the applied technology curricula that we have, that we make because our students are already doing micro credentials, and they can choose their micro credentials around the technology.
The other thing is, it needs to be introduced early.
And that's what we've established. We've established that. We said 14, but I say as early as 12.
Yeah. We came straight out of primary school. We were 11, 12 years old, and we were exposed to metalwork, woodwork.
Well, keep in mind this here. Keep in mind this here. Remember, we're supposed to. Well, we were to be a 2-tier system, because you're talking about we come out of a 2-tier system,
and we're supposed to go back to it.
Well, I'm saying, yeah, but we still have we have 2 middle schools left right now.
Caller, can I ask you a question, caller?
Yes.
What do you mean by academic route? What do you mean by academic?
Well, everybody was exposed to academics, regardless of whether we had to do the trade. Mm-hmm. We were still exposed, but at some point, by the 3rd year, kids were basically allowed to branch off.
Yeah.
And be in an A and B class that would focus more on higher learning in terms of, when I say higher learning, it's all higher learning. I don't care if you're
But they had to focus. You had a choice of a trade or two.
Yeah, and so the other class, the C and D would be more towards the trade or hotel technology, and the A and B would be. It could have been that the A and B could be.
Well, you got part, Mike. You got. I'm going to say you got part of it. It's not entirely accurate. Let me help you out, and you're on the right track. Again, this was our era, right? And it's the same thing when you're talking about with our students. Our students do a thing a little different today, but again, you're talking about and answering Lou's question in terms of academic. The distinction of the academic was that you would do O levels in that day, or RSAs, right?
Everybody
don't say everybody.
Everybody at Tech did GCE, O, and A levels.
That's at Tech.
That's what I'm trying to say. So don't differentiate.
I'm giving there's a technical institute, but he's talking something different. It's entirely different.
Everybody still did A and O levels.
Yeah. Not everybody. Everybody did not do O and A levels.
Being in an academically inclined orientated class.
Yeah, everybody didn't do it.
Got a university certificate in carpentry and joinery.
Yeah.
And I ended up on scholarship at Bermuda College when it first opened. And that's when I was introduced, or I was taught by Kerry, Castle, and all the girls.
That was Bermuda College or sixth form?
That was Bermuda College.
Okay.
When it first opened, the sixth form center was for academics.
Yeah.
The Bermuda College was for the trade.
Yeah.
So I a part of the Bermuda College.
Part of it, yeah.
The sixth form center was strictly for girls who wanted to do math, accountants. You know, they wanted to be that way. They didn't want to be in the trade.
Well, again, was directed toward O levels and A levels. That's what sixth form was directed towards.
Right?
Yeah.
The government was called Construction Sciences, and I was on scholarship for 2 years before I got an athletic scholarship, went overseas and switched to graphic design and fine art.
Yeah. I appreciate it. I want to bring Nabu in on something here.
Please do.
Yeah. I also wanted to be helpful in terms of, you was talking earlier about Bermuda grass.
That's the question, because I'm on the delay, though.
And Bermuda grass, Lou, has been used for golf courses and fields for years. That is
globally,
That is the standard, globally.
Yeah.
Bermuda grass. As a matter of fact, Bermuda grass, when it grows long, it becomes coastal Bermuda hay, which Texas also stole from us, other than the Bermuda onion.
Yeah.
And it is grown widely throughout the southern states as the main livestock hay choice.
There you go.
People need to know that history about what Bermuda had to offer. Not only the grass we see on the Gulf Coast, but that grass is unique. When it grows a foot or longer, it turns into a hay. Very soft on the horse's mouth. So, yeah, just some history.
I appreciate that history. You taught me something on that one.
Thank you, Mike.
Thanks, Mike. Neville, as a teacher in our system today, listening to some of this conversation as it relates to technology, as it relates to the sciences, how do you see the cultural relatability of what we're talking about to your practices with students and their understanding of the science, the technology, the engineering, mathematics, to, again, whether it's careers in Bermuda, whether it's you're doing something around the aviation right now, but I'm just keen to find out through your ear, through your lens, what is it that you hear, you understand, you agree with, disagree with what you hear?
Yeah, the conversation has been robust and it is a lot to digest, but the point that I would have liked to have made to the caller, or even just to the conversation in total, was that this all boils down to values. What do we as a people value when you're in school? What value does your education bring to you? And I think value is very closely, and this is a whole different soapbox that we could go on, because you know my speech about the difference between academic and non-academic.
Yeah.
I don't think there's any such thing as an academic, and I don't think there's any such thing as a non-academic.
Yeah.
With where technology is moving, everyone's an academic.
That's right.
Well,
hands-on too. The balance of hands.
The point of school is to teach you how to do something. If we're saying that the child already has to be proficient in something in order for that, that's not the point of school. You're supposed to come in blank and leave full. Yes, people have their inclinations and their skill sets, but it's our job to develop that based on the interest. But that comes down, why do we work? Why do we want the careers that we want? And it's going to be that value system that drives all of these pieces. Why? It's a combination of that and identity, even from a trade's perspective. Are you in the trade to make money, or are you in the trade to be proud of your trade? There are plenty of electricians that slug up their work afterwards and would never put their phone number on the work, but they got it done and got paid. And there's others that would take an hour on the job because it needs to be done properly. And Bermuda needs to understand that because we are such a small society, you have to do work properly as a tradesman, because you've got some Facebook pages that'll call you out real quick. So this boils down to values, and the argument that I give to my students is that the reason why there are no such things as academics and non-academics anymore, it's just what did you train in and what didn't you train in, is because this stuff keeps moving. If it took you 25 years to be a master of a craft, and then the industry changes, and it takes you 25 years to be a master again, you've missed your boat. This is going to come to who can study, who can change, who can learn something new, who can adjust, and we're all academics. When you look at what, and I think Trot was just saying that before, when we look at what the trade students were doing 30 or 40 years ago, it's what the academic students are doing now. It's just done in an applied format. They've just digested and assimilated the academic piece. Before, you used to have to go to college to learn how to send an email. Now it's just what everybody does, including the plumber. So this education keeps moving. Everything is fluid. And this isn't the time or the place to discuss the whole there's no such thing as an academic, but this all comes down to values. If it's valuable and important, it's going to work the way it needs to work. And you keep saying it, like the other industries do the apprenticeships early. They've got high school kids in their spaces because they know that that's who they want to hire in 4 or 5 years. And we can be doing the same thing. And in some spaces we do. It's not that we're completely missing these boats, right? It's just that we see the drop in the graph coming for some of these professions. And are we filling the void fast enough with competent workers? So it's not just fill the void, it's fill the void with competent workers who have a similar or greater skill set, or at least the desire to have a similar or greater skill set than those that are leaving the profession. But whose job is it to pass on the information is the next question. If you're a master of your trade with 40 years experience and you never open your mouth and teach someone else, but you got that experience from other people opening their mouths and teaching you, what is really happening?
Well, you know what, Neville? I congratulate you on those comments because when I'm talking about education, I'm talking about the total person and not just the person.
Keeping it holistic.
Yeah, the holistic thing. Yeah. And our young men are being shafted because they're not getting the full benefit or worth, like you said, of someone that's been in the industry. I keep hearing a lot of these young men don't have fathers. I remember teaching a young man who said, I was the first man that ever spoke to him and told him no, because there were all women in his house. And that happens a lot.
Can I pause for a second just to jump in there, because you kind of said the thing that is the problem. We are looking to train the men or the young men to become these men. But my question now is, are the young men in the spaces to be trained and taught? Or when you apply a man metric, do they run hide, and I mean it in the nicest way, and hide behind mommy, figuratively, etc.? I'm a male teacher in a school, and I agree with you. There are some young men that when you talk to them with bass in their voice, it turns into something different, but that is how we communicate.
Exactly.
Right. And thank you for that, because it's very important, because I have granddaughters.
Please hold, caller.
I have granddaughters, and whoever they end up with better know that, hey, they better come right. You understand? And so what I'm saying is we have a captive audience at Westgate.
Oh, yeah. Well, I'm glad you brought that up. Turn your radio down, caller.
When I was at the college, my instructor said, hey, I've never been to jail. So when I retired, I went up there, and Kevin Bean and I, we taught some courses. We also wrote a program on how they can upgrade the place and so forth and so on. We trained prison officers to be instructors out of our budget so that they could teach. It never went any further. Because, you see, what I say this, and I'm very serious, but there are some people who do not want to see don't think that certain people should progress or change
not certain people.
Yeah, there are people.
Black males in particular.
Black males in particular.
But let me just say this, Lou, and I'm glad you brought up about Westgate.
Yes.
Because next door is the Old Home Casemates.
Yes.
Which is a great laboratory for everything we're talking about, right? With inmates there who can learn, pick a trade. Oh. Every trade is for redevelopment of casemates.
Well, look at the condition of our forts.
Well,
send them out there driving.
These are all examples. These are all examples, right? and these are examples we're talking about. Where we're probably taking it to another level and looking at Westgate, because but it's education, and that's the holistic aspect. Right. It's not just the formal. Because most of the time when we're talking education in Bermuda, we get into this formal aspect of the four walls of our schools.
Exactly.
But it's mainly the holistic aspect of the education across this island.
And that young man who spoke earlier said, man, we built those new wings of tech, you know.
Yeah.
Our students built them.
Yeah.
And so our models can make our students They always have a canvas. They always have a canvas.
We have a canvas. We have a laboratory. We have laboratories to remedy some of our psychological, emotional circumstances. Go ahead, Cole. I appreciate your patience.
I'm enjoying the conversation, guys. I wish I would have came in earlier,
right?
And maybe I've come into a little bit premature, but I'm hearing a couple things that I keep hearing, and I want to get some feedback on this. When we talk about trades, what are we really talking about?
I'll let Lou answer that one. Go ahead.
Where did the term trade come from?
Oh, I call it technical education, my brother.
Yeah.
Trades?
Yeah, I've always known it as technical education.
Okay. Okay. Well, from what I know, and I could be wrong, that's not where it came from.
Oh, I don't know where it came from, but I refer to what people are calling trades. I always call it technical education.
Okay. Well, for me, one who has worked in electronics since I was 14, and I'm a little bit younger than Lou, not much. I worked in this. Let me ask you, would you call that?
You're not younger than me at all. You wish. I'm gonna correct you right there.
You better behave yourself.
You wish you was younger than me.
And you're certainly not young.
maybe your spirit is younger, but as far as a clock age, you're a little bit older than me.
You think so?
You're my not necessarily senior. What are you? You are my what's the word, Lou? The person before me.
Well, your bigger brother.
Well, you're my big brother, yeah, definitely.
But you are my big brother. I'm gonna stop you right there, brother. You are my big brother by a decade too.
What did you call me?
I say you are my. I don't want to take us into another conversation, but I'm saying you are my big brother by a decade.
Really?
Absolutely. I don't know how old.
You're in your 40s?
Okay. I see where you're going with this here. We'll have to have. I get it.
That's another show.
Yeah, that's another show. I should have caught on. I'm slow.
No, you ain't slow. I'll tell you what, though. You don't even know you're talking to, and I wouldn't expect for you.
I know who I'm talking. This sounds like Brother Khalid.
Nope.
No.
I was
Daniels.
What's that?
This is Daniels.
Man, you better behave yourself. Anyway, let me go ahead.
Okay. Yeah.
Okay.
All right.
I think I'm not sure about it. I haven't really done the research on it, really.
Go ahead.
But I think the term trade came from maybe as much as 70 years ago. Whereas, let's say I was a carpenter and I'm building a house, and I'm a carpenter. Let's say you do electrical work.
Yeah.
So, we ain't got no money, really. So we said, well, let's help each other out. You do my carpentry work, and I will do your electrical or whatever, plumbing or whatever, and vice versa. We help each other along. It's a trade. Let me tell you what. So first of all, let me ask you this. When I was 14, I was working with a guy who's actually a friend of my brother's. They both worked in electronics. But the guy that I was working with, 19, he was married, his wife was 19. He decided to open his own store. This store was called Audio World.
Mm-hmm.
And I was in high school and I was 14, right? But I had been studying electronics for years and years and just doing like little things for people in my neighborhood, the little radios and stuff like that. Okay? So now I had the opportunity to work in an electronic shop, right? Where I was actually an apprentice, junior technician, learning the skill. The skill. So what do you call that? Is that working on like radios, TVs?
Mm-hmm.
Wasn't working on too many TVs and stuff at that time. What would you call that? A profession, or would you call that a trade?
That's it was identified more as a skills trade.
Okay, skills trade. Okay, cool.
Yeah.
All right.
And when you talk about that terminology, I mean, it's usually prefaced with the term skilled. Right. We say trade for short, right, or the trades, right, but it's really skilled trades is the proper terminology to describe it.
Let me tell you how I think about it. And I may be totally wrong.
Very much associated with the Industrial Revolution. That's some history behind it.
Okay. Well, when we say that, what I hear in my head is something off of a show that I used to really like to watch. I was really into sci-fi, man.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember one episode of this show. Lou would remember. I'm not sure the other guys. Like I didn't. I came in. I didn't know who or what, but whoever was there besides Lou. Good evening to you.
Neville's on. He's on virtual. We're using technology and the old school way.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. I remember watching this one episode of Twilight Zone. That's one of my favorite shows.
We remember.
And
that's before Neville's time.
Yeah. You know what, Lou? I'm a certain age, but my spirit is so much younger. It's a shame sometimes. But anyway, just like you, man. Just like you. Anyway, they had this one episode, and this guy was on trial because he was told that he was obsolete.
Mm-hmm.
When I think of the term trade in this day and time, right? 2026 is obsolete. It doesn't exist anymore like that. Nobody works and trades this for that. No, we want money.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So let me tell you. When I was 14, I started officially working electronics. I remember when I was 12, and I was going from primary school already well into electronics, and I was going to high school, and I told my parents that, you know what, in my opinion, people go through this schooling and stuff because they want to find out what they want to do. I told them I already know what I want to do. All right? So I think I should go to technical school now and kind of skip over high school. And my two parents, they came along at a time when people like them, heritage that came from the West Indies. Typically, a lot of the people of their era went to places like Central, which is basically a primary school, and then they went out to work.
Right.
So, my parents academically probably didn't have that much schooling, but surprisingly, they were very smart people. So anyway, they told me, well, you know what? If you want to go to technical school, you're going to have pass certain things and this and that. They won't take you at 12 years old. Okay? So I had to go through the high school and all that. So I went to high school and all that. Okay? Went up to the college, did the course up there, 3 years of electronics. And what was interesting about that is that when I was in high school, I'll tell you where I went in high school, WorkSec. And WorkSec was a very diverse school. Mm-hmm. You know, they even had a part of WorkSec that was set up to be like a hotel.
Yes, that's where I attended. We were talking about that earlier.
Oh yeah, okay. So I wish I would have caught it.
Bring it home for us. Yeah. Bring it home for us.
Let me bring it home for you.
Yeah.
So I went to school there. I went to there and worked with the probably one of the biggest companies in Bermuda doing electronics, and they represented a brand in the States, but actually started out in Japan, which is called Panasonic.
Yeah.
Okay. So I went to work with them. I worked with that company 19 years. Okay. During that time, I went from apprentice to the actual manager of the electronics department. Mm-hmm. But during that time in between, I went up to the U.S. I spent some time in Orange, New Jersey at the Panasonic training facility and also R&D. Okay, where I was actually doing a little bit of research and development, particularly on when the CD player came out. So I don't think you could call that a trade anymore. Okay?
Well, no, it isn't. I mean, what you just chronologically outlined, there are many of our young men and a few young women who have followed such a chronology.
Right.
I know, for example, and I credit Balco. I mean, Balco and Times Bay, I think, have taken a number of their stuff through a certain, through a similar type of chronology, where they begin at that apprentice level, they get the exposure overseas, they come back, and they move up the ranks per se. So what you have communicated is, again, speaking to what we were talking about in the beginning. I mean, credit to, like I said, it's not that what we're talking about in terms of apprenticeships are not happening in Bermuda. It is happening.
Right.
Okay? what we are implying and have been implying, it needs to begin sooner.
Yep. I agree on that.
And not just begin sooner, as soon as primary school, actually, elementary school all the way through, but certainly at that age, 12, 13, 14, we have that pre-apprentice level where we're giving our students the exposure to. And I believe that we're all on the same page, that certain things must be required of them. I think Lou's position is mandatory.
Right.
Neville's position is mandatory. So, but with it also is our collaborative, how can I say, working together in designing the curricula. I'm doing summation here, Lou, with the standards and reinstituting or establishing the National Training Board to uphold the standards in partnership, in connection, in partnership, let me use that term, as a stakeholder with our education system. Right? So I want to leave it at that there, yeah.
Okay, let me just try and finish up because
Please, because it's top of the hour. It's 2 minutes.
Yeah. Oh, shoot, top of the hour. Okay. What I wanted to say is that I'm sure when I first got into this, it was considered as a trade.
Right.
But I was on another talk show last week, I think it was, and Ms. Bellman was on there from. She does genetics. What's it called? I'm trying to name the name of her company.
But you made it a profession given the chronology that you outlined. You started out as a skilled trade.
Right.
But given the length of time and the development that you outlined and the redesigning of your development, it moved into, it morphed into a profession.
Well, I can say that.
Yeah.
Focus on everything.
Yeah. I gotta go. I want to close out on something with our callers at the top of the hour. I appreciate you always. Neville, I want to share this ask you this here, Neville, because you and I were having a conversation, Neville, and you brought up an important observation of your own evidence research into the dockyard when you look at their development.
Right. Yeah, it's so basically I had an old photocopy of what was one of the final exams from the carpentry school up in Dockyard, way before my time. And what I noticed was that the caliber of the question from that final exam, which is boys that are 16 years old, matched the rigor and the academic prowess necessary to pass a level 1 AP or a level 1 A-level physics. It was almost the same question. Like, I wish I could pull up the copy now and show you, but it was basically about a barrel rolling down an incline of a certain degree. How many turns should the barrel take? What speed would it be at the bottom, etc. That's A-level physics. These were tradesmen, and this discussion stemmed between you and I from just my chagrin about people inadvertently referring to tradesmen and trades work as non-academic. Tradesmen are academic to the point where they've digested and assimilated the theory and are able to do it in a practical way.
Right.
They know what they're doing. They are mathematicians. Just they apply it through their hands, and they have to think first. They have to know what they're doing. They have to study. And we kind of need to move away, and it's back to this concept of value systems. We need to move away from this idea that the non-academic or the child that struggles with math should be moved into the trades. No, if the child struggles with math, work with the student in math.
Thank you.
And then let them pick what they want to do in life.
Make the math apply.
Fair enough, but they can't apply the math if they don't know it.
Well, you know,
what we've done is
Pythagoras theorem, 8, 10, 12, right? If this part is 8 and that's 10, the piece going across the joint is 12. That's basically Pythagoras theorem. So when when I was introduced to that was my stepfather. We were trying to make a square to do up something. And when I found out it was Pythagoras' theorem, I went to him and said, hey, that's Pythagoras' theorem. He said, yeah, but it works. I'm just saying, if you apply it, they'll get it.
Yeah.
Nabu, I think your program is good. I want to ask you, I had in my notes here about apprenticeships, and I ended by saying, but if you want the best model of apprenticeship, you have to look at the dockyard model. I wrote that before I came. The other thing, do you have 3D printers in your program?
Yep, and my 8-year-olds run them.
Say it again?
Yes, we do, and my 8-year-olds use them.
That's right. And that's important. And
please hold, caller. You're going to be the last caller.
Yeah, we need to re-establish the NTB to set standards across the board for all technical trades.
Right.
Ensure that contract workers are certified to some standard, and we have the types of standards that they can have. And apprenticeships should be tied to work permits. Apprenticeships should be tied to work permits. Okay.
For folk now, obviously for folk who we're bringing in.
Yes, and that's very important. If
let me ask you this question, Dan. Let me flip this here.
Yes.
What about apprenticeships and even pre-apprenticeships?
They release
being paid apprenticeships.
I don't have apprenticeship.
And I'm saying pre. I know apprenticeships are paid, but I'm talking about the pre.
No, because you
Why
want.
not?
I have a theory.
Because people, a lot of children, and it's been said here before, do not know exactly what they want. At Tech, the summer that I went out, they sent me out into the construction industry. The new buildings down at Elliott up on the bank, I worked with Mr. From over South Shore, and we built those buildings, right? I knew at the end of the summer, I did not want to be in construction.
All right, and I get your position. I have a theory too, but Neville, go ahead.
So I think we can hit multiple nails with one swing on this one. Should they be paid or should apprenticeships be paid? Absolutely. But what you can build into that automatically is the opportunity to teach financial literacy.
There you go.
So let's say what I noticed as a high school teacher is there are students who don't have full-time jobs, who have financial tastes greater than my own, and I work. So they're inadvertently being trained incorrectly for finances. You make $600 a year, you spent it all. Versus if we took this idea of pre-apprenticeships and paid them, and then that money that you were paid is a part of your financial literacy course.
Right.
Or how to invest, or how to start a company with seed money.
Right.
We've now hit 2 nails with one head.
Right.
2 nails with one swing of the hammer. I hear people all the time say, I wish my parents taught me A, B, C, X, Y, Z. This is a prime opportunity where they got to do real work, get real money.
Yeah.
And it's low stakes. They're not going to pay any bills at 13.
I'm partially supportive of what you're talking about, especially at the pre, because the apprentice, they do get a fund. But I think we should teach them also some financial literacy.
Yeah.
But even in the pre, with our students, see,
not going to happen.
But I'm not saying it's not going to happen. I'll say this. Let me say, here's the difference. I just saw in Barbados, for example. You see, they have a return home for Bajans.
Yeah.
We're here bemoaning in Bermuda because our young people are leaving and don't want to come back home because it's not affordable. You don't have anything here for me. We started out something comparable to Neville's position, right? Adding to his position, I believe that all of our children should know and understand something about investment. Now, I'm going somewhere. Your grandkids might get it because you may do it in your household and others, you see. But I'm talking about for the great majority of many of our kids who may not have that type of capital. And when I say capital, intellectual capital in their household, they're on an island that boasts its wealth. But we do very little to engage our young people, even adults, in understanding what's your investment portfolio in an island such as Bermuda. I believe that every child in our school should have an investment portfolio.
And I agree. That's why we're talking about.
And I see at the pre-level potentially setting it up. Yeah. Right? If Barbados can give their students, their young people, to return home a sum of $2,000+ seed money to invest in something, why can't we do it here in Bermuda? That's all I'm saying. We call it a theory.
Yeah.
Call it a theory. But with what Naval proposes in terms of the financial literacy is an approach you take.
It should be for all students. I just said it. In the class.
I said across, but I'm talking about the investment portfolio that child who participates in, well, I don't care if they're going into international business or skilled trades or technology, that, hey, they have the opportunity where there's a financial investment that gets them started.
I want to go on record as saying that I do not believe that day release students should be paid. Apprenticeships should be paid, but not day release students.
Well, I'm saying pre-apprentice.
Pre-apprentice is day release.
Well, you call it day release. See, I have a different conceptualization of the model that I'm talking about that's probably not being descriptively clear with it.
Trot, quick question. So, day release gets you credit in classes, right? So it's still just a value trade.
Yeah.
They did the work in day release in order to get the credit for the class. It's a value shift. All we've done is add the monetary to it. I'm not saying they go spend the money on Air Force Ones.
You set up criteria where they can't touch it, all of that.
I think you will kill that program.
Not really. I'll give you an example where it is working. You see, there is a model that's out there. Matter of fact, young black student started a school with that in schools. So it is being done.
In Bermuda?
Not in Bermuda.
Oh.
Yeah.
We're talking Bermuda.
No, well, Bermuda, I mean, like you said, it can be done. It can be done.
So
let me take the caller who's been very patient. Sorry. Go ahead, caller. You're the last caller.
Hey, no problem, because I'm getting a second bite of cherry. I have to be patient. But I just wanted to clarify that what Naval had to say was actually what I was trying to agree with.
Yeah.
And I thought I made a curve, and I said I and myself, because I had the academic as well as the grant knowledge, was able to make a choice either way, which is exactly what I think Naval is trying to say. We can't limit the kid.
I agree.
And the kid ultimately will have a choice, but because he learned, so much along the way,
right,
he can have a better option. I also agree 100% with the apprenticeship situation in order to solve our problems, but I also am very concerned that we don't boggle ourselves into a shell where if a kid is skillful but isn't sharing the type of technical knowledge we would hope that he would still be able to be put into a field in the workforce. Because I know a lot of masons and a lot of carpenters and even electricians today that really, if you judge them by their academic prowess, then they are pretty much unlearned. But
all of us, Mike, had all of us had that person in our schooling experience, that one teacher who saw something and said, hey, this ain't working for you, you do this. Or, hey, man, you look more of a distance runner than a sprinter. I need you to focus on this. It's the same principle. And who is that person? It places us in this position in front of young people when we're looking at them. And Lou, I'll look at when you look at your grandkids, you can see something. You can see something, you say, okay, he or she demonstrates this. And you begin to expose them to what they demonstrate most of. Yeah?
I grew up
Same thing.
I grew up with a father that did body work and spray paint.
Likewise.
And I was mad to do it.
Likewise.
Right? And I was mad to do
and
it.
hated it. And I don't even like the money I got from it.
Well, whether I hated it or not, I became very skilled at it. But the point I'm making is,
that's not what.
Just the other day, a guy, I corrected a person doing that particular job.
Right.
And I never had formal education in it. I just learned it because that's all the family I grew up with happened to do that.
Yeah.
And it's something for me to fall back on. So my point is, there's a lot of people out here that are very good in certain trade areas, but if they gotta have formal education in order to be accepted into the workforce, that's kind of terrible, because half of the people who are coming here, I agree with the gentleman. If the what you call the board, what board you
NTB, we're talking about the NTB and require the permit
right
for apprenticeships.
They ought to be checked. You'll probably find half of them don't even have the credentials.
Yeah.
But I'll tell you what, they can plaster that wall faster than a person that's got the credentials. Because I had so much practice and
they have the years experience and having grown with it, and I get that.
Exactly.
Because we're in a culture and workforce that wants a certification or a piece of paper to validate the competency. That's not going to go away.
Which means that we're talking out of both sides. This country is talking out of both sides of its mouth. Because if you're not prepared to do it for the local, why should you do it for somebody coming in?
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Appreciate you, brother. Top of the hour. Actually, it's past the top of the hour. Yeah. Neville, close out for us.
Well, I wanted to comment on the two parts that we just discussed.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, the reason why the credentials exist, and I explain this to my students all the time, is because we live in a world with insurance. There are lots of people that can cook, but until you pass a certain test and get your kitchen license, you cannot sell your food.
That's right.
Because if somebody gets sick,
that's right, you're liable. Yeah.
Before you touch someone's car, you need to get a proper credential, so that if that car breaks down when they go down the road, your insurance will cover you. Yes. It is that simple.
Yeah.
Yes, you have a skill. Yes, it is our job as the educators to get you to a place where that skill gets a certified stamp so that you can be insured to do the work. That's it.
Yeah. Well, I appreciate your time and sharing your perspective on this very robust discussion and subject matter, and I'm sure it's not going to be the last time. If anything coming out of this here, again, we're clear about what our solutions are.
Oh yeah,
we're clear about what our solutions are, and if anything, Lou, I mean, it warrants the collective voices of us to reach a mutual agreement with what we see as our solution. It isn't a one-size-fits-all. We hear that all. It's not a one-size-fits-all. But what we do know and we do agree on, the values that Neville talked about for your grandkids, for our young people, and us knowing and valuing what is it you want for yourself, Bermuda.
That's right.
There are many models out there that you can pull from.
That's right.
But what is it you want?
And as I have here,
and shape your curricula to speak to what your needs are and the aspirations of your children will be, and make that greater investment not only for it to attract them, but to keep them and have them carry on the legacy of the Trott family,
Yeah.
of the Zool family, Simmons family. That's what we have to do, yeah?
Have confidence and faith in Bermudians. We can solve our own problems.
Well, on that note, like we say, we don't fight it on any one front. We fight it on all fronts. People, next week we're going to have Zach Taylor in, and you know anything about what Zach is I would say is going to be an extension of this conversation, but from an investment perspective. There's a reason why I dropped that investment piece in there, because I think Zach has a plan, has a model, and it's going to ask of us some of the same things. We'll do it for our families, personally, but how committed and courageous are we to do it for all of us? Yeah?
Bermuda Live on YouTube. Subscribe now.